FYP Production.
At some point, fatigue shall rear its ugly head, legs heavy as logs, laboring, exhausting tires with no tread. Can only evade it for so long despite maximum efforts to remain strong, admitting reluctantly the problem. I am what's wrong. Self-absorbed, isolating myself while many go a lifetime never to experience it truly. Knocking at my door, stubbornly I ignore like a Jehovah's Witness on a Saturday morn, drowning out the disturbance with music, desperately trying not to hear it. Now removing the facade, I fear it, this thing called love. Judge me, so what? I'd much rather skydive. Imagine being so entrenched to where her silhouettes visualize before opening my eyes prior to the sunrise. Obviously pride played a small factor. I'm sure to many that comes as no surprise. A welcome detour from such a powerful energy, entangled warmth inside. Fortitude allows me to block it out and not oblige entry into my heart, because after the mental part, for me, that's where the process starts. An abundance of love to give, yet so selfish with myself, finding solace within my cancer shell, nonchalantly feeling like love. Oh well. Question often asks, do you want to grow old and alone? Duh, of course I don't. However, changes are imperative to ensure that I won't. Been a passenger on several flights, endured much turbulence, still carrying the baggage, just as many of us, but have I evolved enough to love despite the damage? Being in that type of headspace, not being in fear of heartbreak, relinquishing past difficulties, exercising more patience. Avoid being in such a rush, succumbing to lust, the lies, violations of trust is a must. Yearning for those moments of intimacy, the void nonetheless, still paranoid. But see, time has passed, and after much consideration, truthfully, it's time, possibly, in a near distant future. Well, at least in my mind, to entertain the thought of taking that next step. Granted, I could be moody, my ways are a trip, but I pray she'll accept me despite my idiosyncrasies and feel that I am worth it. Galaxies beyond the phase of needing a specific type, regardless of what I attract, very cognizant of what I do like. Distortion occurred in the past while determining whether the interest was merely physical. Now matured, grown weary of that repetitive ritual, searching for a deeper connection, eternal, even if only as friends. Spiritual, after God, the sun rises and sets with her. First voice, last heard, gentle touch, whispered words. Inhaling her essence, refreshing, so effervescent, her presence. Lips moist, licking repeatedly as I savor the aftertaste of all 32 of her flavors. Now feeling sustained, elated, overjoyed, ecstatic, content. Finally stepping out on faith, believing that she was meant for me, heaven sent, forever hell-bent, or reassuring her of my undying love and commitment throughout this thing called love. But have I evolved enough to love despite the damage? Being in that type of headspace, not being in fear of heartbreak, relinquishing past difficulties, exercising more patience, avoid being in such a rush, succumbing to lust, the lies, violations of trust is a must. Yearning for these moments of intimacy, the void nonetheless, I'm still paranoid. Time has passed, and after much consideration, truthfully, it's time, possibly in the near distant future. Well, at least in my mind, to entertain the thought of taking that next step. Granted, I could be a little moody, my ways are a trip, but I pray that she accepts me despite my idiosyncrasies and feel that I am worth it. Galaxies beyond of the phase of needing a specific type, regardless of what I attract, I'm very cognizant of what I do like. You see, distortion occurred in the past while determining whether the interest was merely physical. Now I'm matured, grown weary of the repetitive ritual, searching for a deeper connection, eternal, even if only as friends. Spiritual, after God, the sun rises and sets with her. First voice, last heard, gentle touch, whispered words, inhaling her essence, refreshing, so effervescent her presence, lips moist, licking repeatedly, savoring the aftertaste of all 32 of her flavors. Now I'm feeling sustained, elated, overjoyed, ecstatic, content. Finally stepping out on faith, believing that she was meant for me, heaven sent, forever hell-bent on reassuring her of my undying love and commitment throughout this thing called love.